So we are about to start. As I mentioned earlier, for the last session of today's event, we will talk a bit about the certification process that the NETAPPs will go through that we are preparing in 5G ASP project. Then we'll have a few more presentations of NETAPPs with a challenge, because we have two speakers who are joining us from Zoom, so let's hope that all technical aspects work perfectly during that moment. Then we will see one NETAPP and a brief presentation about the Vital 5G project as well, and then answer any questions that you may have about the 5G NETAPP Lab program and everything else that has been shared today. So now let's go to the next presentation. Ben, please.
Hello, everyone. Oh. Okay, yeah. My name is Ben Shaw from ENTC. ENTC, it is a European Advanced Network Testing Center. And today I will take the topic of that net application certifications. So firstly, welcome to back after the long break. So now let's continue. So as we all know that 5G gives us a lot of these benefits. For example, we get that high throughput, we have that low latency, and also that negative connection. But the next question is that so when your net applications, how to can use that kind of that benefits for your business services? And in such kind of the case, as we already made that during the net application trying to launch it to the commercial network, we had some of the demos that, for example, as net application owners, you're very good at the software designs and also for the architectures, but maybe some of the time you didn't get enough time or resource or even experience for the full testing, how to use such kind of the benefits in the network so that your application can run perfectly. And the next one is that as a net application, as that infrastructure provider, like our test beds. So you have a lot of these knowledges. You understand that the instructions and also the operations. But at this moment, as we know that the 5G network gives us multiple that net applications at the same time, waiting to be launched on the network. So at such kind of time, you need some ways to make sure the testing and the certifications can be quick and fast for such kind of that net application at the same time. So in our project, we are to define, and actually we already launched that for that our certification process and also the services. So this is what we call the 5G SGASP-C. This is certification. And so for now, what's that 5G ASP certification? So actually, this certification, it is some technology and also the processes. But one first thing I have to mention that at the beginning is that there's some difference between the testing and the certifications. So you can do the testing even in your lab. Yeah, you can do any of the testing, the unit testing, the software checks, that kind of things in lab. But the next thing is that for the certifications, we are trying to define that and help you to make sure your applications can be freely launched to the cloud network, and also to benefit this to use the benefit of 5G for that low latency. So in our certification process, we as we defined that before, we get three of the different roles. The first one, of course, it will be your guys as that net application owners. So you have the software, you have that the service to be launched in the network, and so you're trying to use our certification platform to certificate your net applications in our testbed. So the next role that it's our testbeds. Currently, we get 6 of the testbed already be certificated that. This morning, our colleagues already shared that each kind of that testbeds. We get very well-defined instructions and also the different type of that hardware and a lot of that kind of that UEs and the testing tools to be used for the for the testing and the certifications. And so finally, during the certification, of course, we need some of that, the team. Here we call that the certification astro. Actually, it will be our 5GSP project technology management team. So in case during the certification, any of the issues happened, we can quickly fix that, and we will help to help you to issue that the certificate after the certification. So, and until now, as we already shared that before, we had 11 net applications already in our project, and we are called for more contributions. If you're interested on that, it's very welcome. And as I discussed that before, in such kind of the case, if you already test your net applications in your network, that's fine. And you can join us only for the certification. But the other way is that if you're also interested for the full testing, also it is very welcome. Later I will show you that the full specification and the process for our automation testing. And of course, the certification, it is a part of this testing. So here I'm trying to share you our V modules for the certification. So firstly, as the net application owners, you if you really want to certificate your application, you need to, of course, to set up your application. So that means, yeah, you really want to do such kind of things on our communication portals. So we already defined that the process and the user guides which kind of things you have to follow on the portal. So in the end of this slice, you will get the link, and you can check that by yourself. So after this application, of course, your software and net applications, it will be launched to our network. Before that, of course, we need to do some of that preparations. For example, we will check which kind of the test bed you really want to certificate that, and also for the testing tools to be ready for the testing and the certification. Of course, the main point is that we will work with you to select that correct certification criteria, because later your certificate, it will be based on how many of the test cases and which type of the criteria you already passed. I will show the details later. And so after this preparation, your network needs to be onboarded to our cloud in one of the testbed, or even some of the cases it is two of the testbeds, or even more. So this is a multi-connection to the cases if you really need that. And after the onboarding, we will do some of that the check, and then the testing it will be start based on the selected criteria cases. So and of course after the testing, the result and the logs need to be reviewed, and then later the test report it will be submitted to our storage portal. This is the other published portal. That one can be used to publish the certificate, and also after the certification, your net application it will be published that. And of course, one more thing is that you have the possibility to do the showcase after the certification if you like in our portal. And yeah, so now here I'm trying to show you that how you can do the certifications. This is the processes. Yeah, this is the big one, and I know that if you see that kind of that big graphics, it will not so easy to get more details. That's why I will split that to the different use cases. So don't worry. And so for 5GC, we are defined 6 of that use cases. So the first 3 of the use cases, it's that the certification request and testing and the issue. This is a normal case, so that means if there is no any of the issues happened during the certification testing, so you will follow this process. Firstly, you need to ask for the certification, and yeah, such kind of that the requirement ask for the certification, it should be triggered by the net application owners, and then it will be reported to our to our office. It will be the test management team, so that we will check the details, and yeah, such kind of things I will share you that later one by one. The other user cases, for example, the debugging test cases that happened that during the certifications, in case if any of that issue happened, so of course you need to do the debugging, and also you have the chance to do the software update, and then we will trigger the new certificate. So next one is that for the certification arbitration, so that means during this debugging, even when we found some of the issues, sometimes it's not so easy to define such kind of the issue. It is from our test bed, or it may from your software, or some wrong configuration between each other. But anyhow, in such kind of the case, you need to, the test bed owner and the network application owners, it will be separated such kind of that the attributions to our technology management team, so that we will define that what's the real issue happened. It will block the certificate, or it's just some of the issues. We can quick to fix that and define that which part needs to fix that. It will be maybe by our test bed, or you need to get the new software. So finally, there is one use case that we call that recertification. That means, yeah, in case that you already get one of that certificate, but this is a low level, for example, it is the wrong one. And after that, you have the new software version, and you get more of functions, and you do some enhancement of your software and the notification and services. So you can ask for the recertification to get the high level of the certificate. In such kind of case, we give you that the short path to quick to finish this certification process. I will go for the details one by one. So the first one for this requirement, that means, so yeah, you need to submit the requirement online in our portal. And when they submit that to our office, it will be checked that, and if it is a go, you need to share us with your documentations and the softwares, of course. And such kind of that things, when it's ready, you need to select one of the test beds, or even some case 2 or 3 of the test beds to do the certification. When the test bed is selected, that you need to also submit your triplets, the software, image, such kind of things to the test bed guys, so that we can start for the testing. Yeah, now this one is the main point for the certification testing. So when the materials already be submitted to the test bed, so we will firstly to schedule for the testing to check the timelines, which time slots it is better to both sides, to our test bed and also to your support team. So when this time it is confirmed, the testing it will start today, and such kind of the test it is fully automation. So that means when the test kit is ready, you just need to collect that to select, okay, such kind of test cases I really want to do that, and then the platform, it will do the testing automation. So after the testing, of course, the results will be reported by the test bed, by our test bed to the office to check the result to make sure everything is fine. So the certificate issue process is that when the testing is it's done and the result already reported to the office, we will prove that to make sure the result and everything is clear, and then we will issue you your certificate, and it will be based on which kind of the testing or certification you already done, and give you 3 different level of that the certificate. It will maybe the Bronzer, the Civil, or Gold. And later I will show you more detailed what's the regular, which kind of the case you can get, which level of the certificate. So as I already mentioned that before, after the certificate, also you have the chance to showcase in our Net Story portal to showcase your net applications, not only in this project and also to the whole marketing. So now let's go for the debugging process. Debugging process, that means, yeah, during that certification, we found some of the issues. Of course, it tells it will report the issues, or we found something that's not correctly. And in such kind of the case, so the issue, it will be firstly our test bite. It is on of this certification. So we will make the decision which kind of things really happened. And we will try to define that if there's an issue in our test bed or if the issue in your net application. And if it is in the net application side, we will report that to you, and we need you to do the debugging and to maybe give us the new software version or to do some enhancement or change the configuration. But anyhow, after starting the change, we need to start for the new cycle of this certificate. So next one, it is that for the attributions. So this case, that means after that, when we found some of the issue and the net, our test bed of the tester in the test bed believe certain kind of the issue, it is in your side, for example, in case. But after that, the debugging, you found maybe this issue is not triggered from your side. In such kind of a case, we need that one of the process to check more details and make the decision what's really the issue happened, who need to fix that. And in this case, so the test bed, so both of the sides, it will be you or our test bed owner, it will be report and trigger this process to our office. That will be the technical management team to check more details. And of course, it will be clear to mention to you that after this checking, this is the issue. It is really in the net application side, or it should be fixed by our test bed. And even some of the cases that maybe the issue, yeah, it is some of that issues, but this issue is not blocked any of the things for the certificate. So that means you will get the clear of the result, and the certificate is result. It will be published on our on our portals. So that means only you and all of the guys can check that which kind of things really happened during the certification and what's the result. Finally, this issue is fixed or not, and who did this kind of the fix. Yeah. So now the last one is that for the recertificate workflow. Recertificate, as I mentioned that before, that means you already get one certificate, or even some of the cases that you did one round of the testing, but without the certificate. That means you didn't pass all of the test cases in the initial criteria. In such kind of the case, after the when you get the new software, you can ask for the recertification. In such kind of the case, you didn't need to resubmit the requirement, and you didn't need to, if you really want to use the same test bed, the configurations, you can directly to do that, but you didn't need to, from the beginning, redo everything again. Yeah. So now, let me share you that what kind of that the testing. Yeah, we already discussed a lot of the things too many times during the certification. All the certain kinds of test, it will be automatically. So here I will try to share you which kind of that components it will be involved for this testing and certification, and how we make that automatically. So firstly, we had our NETAPP. Colleagues already give you some more details this morning. So when your net application uploaded to this NETAPP portal, so that the triplets need to be uploaded to the system, and then finally it will be onboarded through our OSM, or that the animal management. Maybe later we will got also ONAP. So when your net application onboarded that, our CI/CD management, it will start to do that the testing based on your selected test cases on the criteria. So when the management is ready, it will send the requirement for the testing to the agent. The agent, it will calculate that kind of the testing, and then later get the results. So when the result is ready, it will be shared from that our NETAPP. So that means you submitted the software, and also you get the result in the unit portal that will be NETAPP. So when you get that result, this result it will be shared to our net application storage, so that at that moment in the storage, our office, it will check the result, and based on your testing result, and we will issue you one of that certificate. So I will not to go to more details, but if you really wish that, you can check that online. It is part of our deliverables 5.3, and later I will show you also the links. And also the other of that documentation for more detail, each of the step, what we did and how you can do that. It will give you the very good use guide on our communication portal. So please check that later and mark us any of the questions. It's very welcome. So yeah, now the key point is that after your certificate, so which kind of that certificate you really can get. As we mentioned that before, you can get 3 different levels of that certificate. So here clear to mention that which kind of the testing passed, which kind of the certificate you can get. For example, we already predefined 2 certification criteria. One is the initial one is that expanded. The initial one, it is focus on that network onboarding and also the securities. So I will show you some example of the current test cases in next slides. And so when all of this net application is requested and expected to pass the test cases for the initial criteria. So if you passed this initial criteria, you will get the level of that certificate. And the next level is that, of course, you can do some of that test cases in our extended criteria. So in case you already passed that 50% of these test cases, what you're selecting in the critical expanded criteria, you will get that the second level of the certificate. And if you can pass that more than 75% of these test cases, you will get the next level. It is the golden one. So and one more thing is that it is possible after the certificate, you may not get any of the certificate if you cannot pass the test cases in the initial one, because this is very, very basic ones. It will be make sure your net application at least can be onboarded and running on the networks in the 5G ecosystem. So here I will quickly share you that the test cases, but I will not go to the details. This is our currently initial criteria. There are some of the test cases I shared you here. It's very high levels, and such kind of the test cases, some of that it will be finished automatically by the scripts, and one of them it will be done by the tools. Some such kind of the details you can check that later in our deliverable. It will be included in deliverable 5.4. And also, of course, this criticality is under the definition. It is not the fully one. So later we will work on that and give you the final one. It will be published in our portal so that you can check that by yourself, and you can, based on that, to do some preparation if you really want to do the certificate in our net application certification process. So now here I quick to share you that some of the cases it is for the expanded one, so that you can understand what I'm meaning for that initial and expanded one. So the initial test cases here, as I mentioned that before, it is focused on 2 things. The first one is that to make sure your net applications can really onboarding and running on the network. The next one is more important is that to make sure your net application it is under the control of the security, to make sure it is running stably and no big impacted or expected impacted to the other applications and also to our infrastructure. So, and the extended critical, it will be focused on that the performance in 5G ecosystem and also some service layers. KPIs, for example, how long time the loss of the service and also the QE, QS, or certain kind of that performance and modeling functions that what required that by the specification, like 3GPP or etc. So now I'm trying to show you that currently in our platforms, which kind of the tools are already defined that and implemented that. So currently we get 3 of the tools. One is that for the iProf, it will be used for the performance testing, and we also use that TREX. This one will be also for the performance, but it can help also the SLV or SRLV or even the DPCK testing for the traffic. And we also get one of the dedicated tools. It is QMO. This one, it will help us to do the testing of the services, for example, the voice, if you really like that, and also for the videos. And this kind of the tools, it already listed that clearly here in which kind of test bed already there. And some test cases, it is shared. So that means there are 2 of the ways you can do the certification. Neither you, the test cases and the credit code is clear to publish on our nettles. But during this testing, we give you 2 of the chance. The first one is that you can reuse our testing tools and the scripts, what we already get from our current 11 net applications. If you really like that, you can reuse that. And the next one is that you can also benefit your tools or your scripts. But the only thing is that you have to follow the test cases. The KPI and the expected value is there. Of course, you can give us use a different tool. Yeah. So this slides I'm also trying to share you that some of the scripts are already running in our typeset. So yeah, some more details, it will be checked online. Yeah. And yeah, finally, I give you some of the links. All of that kind of things what we discussed that today, the details, it already be published online. In our one is that in our network in our project, and the other one it is that I already mentioned that too many times. We get 2 of the portals. One is that needles. This one it will be used for the communications, and also you can discuss and pop up any of the questions during your developing and testing, and also your ideas. The other one is that for the net storage. This one it will be used to publish your net application, the certification, and also showcase your services. And yeah, please welcome any of that questions or comments.
Let's see if we have any questions online.
Yep.
No, not yet. Anyone here want to ask anything or add anything? It's either clear, either very complicated.
Hi. So how portable is this certification procedure? It relies on the 5G, the existence of 5G SP facilities. Can it be, or how easy it is to implement this, let's say, for another project or another facility which is not 5G ASP related?
Okay, yeah, it's a good question. So not only for the certification, even for our automation and testing, all of this testing process, we already, yeah, we call that TVCS. It is the testing, validation, and certification services. Such kind of the things, it is already fully defined that, and our target is that. So finally, any of that our components in this testing, for example, the needles and also our CI/CD management, our agent and the configuration, even the tools, it will be packaged to the blueprints, and then we can share that in our net application storage. So any of the project, if you're interested on that and you can follow our definitions, you can reuse that. So after the project, of course, now it is under the definition, but finally you can download that and reuse that any of the time if you want in any of the project in Europe. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. So thank you, Ben.